Welcome back to another episode. It is August 26th. We are just a few days away from the first game of the season for Michigan football. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go through on the schedule. What we'll start off with is how many wins we think Michigan accumulate. Talk through that a little bit, and go through the schedule. Which games we think will be wins, which games we think might be considered trap games. Just have some good dialogue around that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just kick it over to you. We'll just start off with how many games you think Michigan gonna win? What range you think they're gonna be in? I think we're both kind of that 9 to 10 range. Just want to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump out the window and just go right up the back. I am feeling um still so hard. I'm gonna go a solid 10-2. 10-2 is kind of how, 10-minute mark right at the gate. But no, 10-2 is kind of how I'm thinking about it. Just I guess just kind of speed it up here. I really think the quarterback play is gonna be the needle mover this year. Just getting even below average Big Ten quarterback play, I think will be a needle mover for us. So
Yeah.
then we can dive in deeper. But I'm looking 10 wins if Bryce is up even above average, and nine wins if he's slightly below.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you. I think the ceiling is 11. I think the floor is like 8 or 9. But I think we can get 10. I think all this kind of depends really that Oklahoma game. We got an early test, just kind of figure it out and see what that looks like. And depends on how we bring Bryce along. Um, I heard him say that he said college football has never seen a freshman like him before. So it's gonna be real interesting to see how he looks coming out the box, and that'll be really like, yeah, I mean his our ceiling, it's kind of really depends on him. We could be 9-3, maybe miss the playoffs, or end up find ourselves in the Elite Eight or whatever, Final Four, just kind of depending on how he plays. So
Yeah.
we'll know in due time though, see just how they bring him along.
Right. And you don't want to put too much on the shoulders of I don't know what he'd be, 18, 19-year-old. But like we talked about weeks prior to this, I do think he has been literally raised and developed for this. So, kind of looking out the gate, obviously, you mentioned trap games. I think everybody, Michigan fan, we obviously want to watch that first game, but we all got our eyes on Oklahoma. But to focus on that first game, I think New Mexico, solid first test for the unit. Solid first test for Bryce to get his first real college football action.
Dress rehearsal.
Yep, yep, under the night lights. We're gonna kind of see how well the offensive line gels together, see how well he's how much work he's put in with the receivers. Who kind of gets that running back nod? Is it Jordan Marshall, a guy who's been around, had a couple of really big games at the end of last year, kind of ex Mr. Ohio, or are we going with the Alabama transfer? Kind of what does that look like? And I think a lot of that kind of be getting worked out in that week one. A little bit of stuff like that. So not look too much ahead against New Mexico, but I'll go ahead and say I feel pretty good at we'll get a W in that one.
Yeah, right there with you. This will be a good good way to just first opponent, work out some kinks, get ready for Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah, talk a little bit about Oklahoma. They bringing in a pretty solid quarterback, John Mateer. We'll see. He still hasn't saw some Venmos. Sound like he might be, playing at this. He might be playing at this point, but um, that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
We'll see how they're able to play with Bryce. We're gonna have, like I said, defense gonna have to be getting going early. But I feel like we're a little bit more talented than Oklahoma. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he came away with that one.
No, I agree with you on that, and I think that's a good early measuring stick for us.
It is.
Not to the level that Texas was last year, where we had a team in the Final Four, come to our house. But I think this is a really good test out the gate. Not out the gate. Let's say the second hurdle, second lap around the stadium here. I agree with you. I think a lot of this is going to show us, what Bryce Underwood's about. How well that offense is humming. how well that defense is gelling early in the year. That's been something that we been able to hang our coat on over the last really all my life, but definitely over the last 5 years. Is that Michigan defense is going to come into play, and it's really going to be what that offense can do. Um, you know, John, which his name is John Matea. We looked at stats with
Tier.
Washington State transfer. Look the highlights up. I mean, he gets busy, but nothing that this defensive unit hasn't seen before. Nothing that we haven't shut down, and so I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a big game for them as well. And This is just the first of two. I like that we're just a side note, but I like that we're trading back and forth with these Oklahoma, Texas. They're coming to us. We're going
Yeah.
down to them. But I think another toss up, but this would be one of the handful of games that I wrote down: Oklahoma, Nebraska, USC, and Maryland. That is a kind of a defining moments of the season for us, as far as I see. So I'll put them on there as well. But I agree with you; it will be tough to walk away from a dub from there. And Yeah, so I don't want to give it a loss, but I think that is one where um, it's so early in the year that we can overcome that loss, and it's also so early in the year that if we win, I don't know, maybe Oklahoma isn't who we think they are. So it's kind of a measuring stick for both teams. I think it will be a real tough fought game. Come down to the needle either way.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, you hit on the head. Get through Oklahoma. You got, some teams that are. I mean, you got the trap game toward Nebraska, but you have another like game in the Central where you can, figure some more stuff out. Get out of that Nebraska game. You got Wisconsin. Get out of South Carolina, or keep trying to call them South Carolina. After Wisconsin, who is Wisconsin, they're pretty much like a bottom feeder right now in the Big Ten. But you beat USC. Then you got Washington, you got MSU, you got Purdue, Northwestern to really just like really start to like peak.
Yeah.
Before you got that little back end where it gets a little tricky, going to Maryland, then got Ohio State, really could really be a Big Ten championship. Obviously that game is important regardless of what the records are, but um, yeah, you got a couple spots in there where after Oklahoma,
Yeah,
just get to
a
South Carolina.
little more room to run. I mean, obviously
Yeah,
Nebraska can be dangerous. But yeah, let's just say for shits and gigs, you beat New Mexico, you go down to Oklahoma, you lose a tough one, you rebound versus Central. Nebraska's a tough one. Like, you get that one in a good half front. And then, like you said, Wisconsin used to be to get done. USC's a tough one, especially traveling on the road. But I'm gonna say we lost Oklahoma, so we get USC. Washington a dub at the crib. State's a dub on our second home away. Uh, Purdue dub, Northwestern dub, and then like you said, that Maryland Ohio is a tough way to end there. On the road at Maryland, we went to the game 2 years ago. They've been biting at our heels,
yeah,
um,
just tough
and
matchup.
they're right there. A team that you know, I'm not sure who their quarterback is now, but they always keep a pretty solid unit over there. Solid, they can move the
Hmm.
ball well, so that's a tough one as well. Um, but I think I'll go ahead in order to get us to that 10 wins. I'll give us a dub there as well. And so
Yep.
from and like I said, round it all off with for all the marbles down at Ohio or Ohio coming up to us. Um, and that's one thing, like you said, you can throw the record away. Um, by then Bryce be a seasoned vet. Team is hungry. Who knows what that ramifications could be. We're sitting there at 9-3, and go ahead and beat. We're sitting at 9-3 at 11 in the country, and we beat them. We're in the playoffs for sure. We lose that.
Yeah.
Who knows? Give us another chance to fight. Um, and I'm ready for it, bro. I think the gloves are off in this rivalry. I think last year with the flag planning and Jack Sawyer being a little crybaby and all that stuff,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be blood in the
War.
water. Yeah. And we're going further in and they're stepping out. They're saying, hey, I don't think the rivalry should be what it is. And what other type of, you know, so I think
Yeah, it's not as important.
not as all of a sudden not as important. It was the biggest thing in ever. So, I'm looking at that's the road to success with the expanded college football playoff.
Hmm.
With all that, I think you hover around that 9-10 wins, especially if you can beat Oklahoma, if you can beat in Ohio, get some other teams that are in the playoff. You're probably getting in. And then
Hmm.
at that point, who knows how the dice falls? Maybe you got Florida coming up here in the middle of December, and you can catch them slipping. And I think so. That we got to live in a new lay of land now. Not that you always want to win games, but you can still get busy and have your run if you lose a couple of games in modern day college football.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I
Six
mean, look
and
at Ohio. Look at
right, for sure. Ceiling 11 wins, floor 9 wins. I think we right in the same page, right around 10.
yeah,
I think 10 wins definitely doable.
yeah. See what Underwood got. Sharon Moore.
All
Uh,
depends on them, yeah.
yeah, and I think they'll take his places. I'm feeling good about it though, man.